The Tripartite Tractate, a significant text within the Nag Hammadi library, offers a profound exploration of Gnostic cosmology and theology. This intricate work delves into the nature of the divine, the process of creation, and the dynamics of spiritual ignorance and enlightenment. In this analysis, we will examine key excerpts from the Tripartite Tractate through the lens of various relational states. By interpreting these passages as triads of their components, we aim to uncover deeper insights into the text's theological and philosophical dimensions. This approach will highlight how the relationships among divine entities and spiritual states articulate a complex and nuanced understanding of the divine and human condition. Coexistence describes a state in which the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit exist as a unified, undivided entity. Each divine person reflects and embodies the fullness of the other, creating a harmonious and balanced relationship. The interconnectedness of these entities signifies that the presence and essence of one inherently affirm the existence and essence of the others. The quote, "The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit exist as a single, undivided entity, each reflecting the fullness of the other in perfect harmony," illustrates the concept of coexistence logic by highlighting the mutual and necessary existence among the core components of the divine. This quote illustrates how the three divine entities coexist in a perfect and undivided manner, emphasizing their mutual interdependence and unity. Equilibrium in the context of chaos, ignorance, and error signifies a state where these negative aspects sustain each other. The absence of knowledge, ignorance, leads to misunderstanding or error, which in turn creates chaos. This interlinked relationship maintains a balance of disorder where each negative state supports and perpetuates the others. The tractate states, "The realm of ignorance, error, and chaos are intertwined, perpetuating a state of disordered equilibrium where each state supports the continuation of the other." This quote underscores how ignorance, error, and chaos maintain a state of equilibrium through their interconnectedness, each contributing to the perpetuation of the other. Reinforcement describes a cyclical relationship where the Father sends forth the Son reveals the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit brings individuals back to the Father. This cycle emphasizes a continuous and reinforcing interaction among the three divine entities, creating a perpetual loop of divine engagement and support. The tractate states, "The Father sent forth the Son, and the Son revealed the Holy Spirit, who in turn brings us back to the Father, creating a cycle of divine reinforcement." This quote illustrates the reinforcing nature of the divine cycle, where each entity plays a role in leading back to the origin, maintaining a continuous flow of divine interaction. Feedback in the context of ignorance, error, and chaos describes a loop where each negative state leads to and reinforces the next. Ignorance fosters error, error leads to chaos, and chaos circles back to ignorance. This negative feedback loop ensures the persistence of disorder and misunderstanding. The tractate reads, "Through ignorance, error arose, and from error came chaos, each feeding back into the other in an endless loop of negativity." This quote emphasizes the continuous and self-sustaining nature of the negative feedback loop among ignorance, error, and chaos. The causal relationship illustrates a direct chain of events where the Father begets the Son, and the Son emanates the Holy Spirit. The absence of the Father would mean the absence of the Holy Spirit, highlighting the dependent nature of their existence. The tractate states, "The Father begot the Son, and the Son emanated the Holy Spirit," establishing a causal chain where the absence of the Father would mean the absence of the Holy Spirit. This quote demonstrates the causal relationship among the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, showing how each entity's existence is contingent on the presence of the preceding one. Reversion describes a state where the absence of one negative aspect leads back to the previous state, creating a cyclical return to the origin of disorder. Ignorance leads to error, which causes chaos, and chaos brings back error and ignorance, perpetuating a cycle of negative states. The tractate reads, "In the absence of knowledge, error prevails, leading back to chaos, and chaos returns to error and ignorance, a perpetual state of reversion." This quote illustrates the reversion cycle among ignorance, error, and chaos, showing how each state continually leads back to the origin, maintaining a cycle of disorder. Nonlinear interaction describes a sequence where the Father sends forth the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit empowers and guides the Church. The absence of the Father would mean the absence of the Holy Spirit, indicating that the Church's divine guidance relies on the initial presence and action of the Father. This nonlinear interaction showcases a unique pathway where the Father's initial action indirectly leads to the establishment and empowerment of the Church through the Holy Spirit. The tractate states, "The Father sends forth the Holy Spirit, who then empowers and guides the Church," demonstrating a nonlinear sequence of divine interaction. This quote illustrates how the Holy Spirit, sent by the Father, plays a crucial role in the establishment and guidance of the Church, highlighting the nonlinear nature of their divine relationship. Retrospective analysis involves reflecting on the origin of negative states, recognizing how chaos leads to ignorance and error. By tracing back the disorder, one can understand the root causes and their interconnectedness, highlighting the retrospective nature of understanding the negative triad. The tractate reads, "Reflecting upon chaos leads to recognizing the ignorance and error that caused it, tracing back the origin of disorder retrospectively." This quote demonstrates the retrospective examination of chaos, ignorance, and error, showing how understanding the origin of one state can lead to insights about the others. Inclusive relationships describe how the Father generates the Son reveals the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit encapsulates the essence of both Father and Son. This inclusive interaction unites all three entities, demonstrating a complete and encompassing divine relationship. The tractate reads, "The Father generates the Son reveals the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit encapsulates the essence of both Father and Son, inclusively uniting them." This quote illustrates the inclusive nature of the divine relationship, showing how the Holy Spirit integrates and reflects both the Father and the Son. Exclusive relationships indicate that the absence of one negative state leads to the absence of another. Without knowledge, ignorance, error arises, and without correction, chaos ensues. Each exclusionary state ensures the persistence of the next, highlighting the interdependent nature of these negative aspects. The tractate reads, "Without the light of knowledge, error takes root, and without correction, chaos ensues, with each exclusionary state ensuring the persistence of the next." This quote demonstrates the exclusive relationship among ignorance, error, and chaos, showing how each state leads to the absence of order and understanding. Conjoined relationships describe how the Son, as the manifestation of both Father and Holy Spirit, bridges the divine elements. The Son's existence connects and reflects the Father and the Holy Spirit, demonstrating the conjoined nature of their divine relationship. The tractate reads, "The Son, as the manifestation of both Father and Holy Spirit, bridges the divine elements, showing the conjoined nature of their existence." This quote illustrates how the Son integrates and reflects the Father and the Holy Spirit, emphasizing the conjoined nature of their relationship. Bottlenecked relationships describe how the absence of divine knowledge and order, ignorance, leads to error and chaos, creating a bottleneck that prevents the realization of true understanding. The lack of one positive state ensures the persistence of negative states, hindering divine harmony. The tractate reads, "In the absence of divine knowledge and order, error and chaos take over, creating a bottleneck that prevents the realization of true understanding." This quote emphasizes how ignorance creates a bottleneck, leading to error and chaos, and preventing the attainment of divine knowledge and order. Harmonic relationships describe the balanced interplay among the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The combination of any two entities results in the emergence of the third, demonstrating the harmonious nature of their divine interactions. The tractate reads, "The harmonious interplay between Father and Son results in the Holy Spirit, and similarly, other combinations yield balanced divine outcomes." This quote illustrates the harmonic relationships among the divine entities, showing how their balanced interactions result in the emergence of each other. Dissonant relationships describe how the presence of chaos leads to both ignorance and error. When divine harmony is disrupted, multiple negative states prevail, resulting in a dissonant and unbalanced divine realm. The tractate reads, "When chaos reigns, both ignorance and error are prevalent, resulting in a dissonant state that disrupts divine harmony." This quote highlights the dissonant nature of the relationship among chaos, ignorance, and error, showing how the disruption of divine harmony leads to multiple negative states. Convergent relationships describe how each divine entity leads to the convergence of the other two, forming a united and cohesive whole. The interactions among the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit result in a complete and harmonious divine unity. The tractate reads, "Each divine entity, whether the Father, the Son, or the Holy Spirit, leads to the convergence of the other two, forming a united and cohesive whole." This quote illustrates the convergent relationships among the divine entities, showing how their interactions result in a unified and harmonious whole. Divergent relationships describe how the absence of knowledge and the presence of error naturally lead to chaos. When divine order is disrupted, negative states diverge from the intended divine harmony, resulting in disorder and disarray. The tractate reads, "The absence of knowledge and the presence of error naturally lead to chaos," demonstrating how divergence in divine order results in disarray. This quote illustrates the divergent nature of the relationship among ignorance, error, and chaos, showing how the disruption of divine order leads to disorder. Combination relationships describe how the presence of one divine entity and the absence of another lead to the emergence of a third. For example, when the Father exists without the Son, the Holy Spirit emerges to balance the divine interplay, showing complex combinations within the divine nature. The tractate reads, "When the Father exists without the Son, the Holy Spirit emerges to balance the divine interplay, showing complex combinations within the divine nature." This quote illustrates the combination relationships among the divine entities, demonstrating how the presence of one and the absence of another result in the emergence of a third. Division relationships describe how the coexistence of ignorance and error leads to the dividing outcome of chaos. The presence of negative states results in a fragmented and disordered divine realm, highlighting the disruptive nature of division. The tractate reads, "In the realm where ignorance and error coexist, chaos is the dividing outcome, fragmenting the divine order." This quote demonstrates the division relationships among ignorance, error, and chaos, showing how their coexistence leads to fragmentation and disorder. Association relationships describe how the presence of one divine entity and the absence of another lead to the association with a third. For example, when the Son operates independently of the Father, the Holy Spirit associates to maintain balance, illustrating the interconnectedness of divine entities. The tractate reads, "When the Son operates independently of the Father, the Holy Spirit associates to maintain balance," illustrating the interconnectedness of divine entities. This quote illustrates the association relationships among the divine entities, showing how the presence of one and the absence of another lead to the involvement of a third. Disassociation relationships describe how the absence of one divine entity and the presence of another lead to the disassociation with a third. In the absence of understanding, ignorance combined with the divine Father, error arises, indicating dissociative states within the divine framework. The tractate reads, "In the absence of understanding, ignorance, combined with the divine Father, error arises," indicating dissociative states within the divine framework. This quote demonstrates the disassociation relationships among ignorance, the Father, and error, showing how their interactions lead to dissociative states. Integration relationships describe how the Father's will leads to the Son's manifestation, integrated with the Holy Spirit's presence. This dynamic interaction shows the integrated and cohesive nature of the divine plan, where each entity plays a role in the unified divine purpose. The tractate reads, "The Father's will leads to the Son's manifestation, integrated with the Holy Spirit's presence, showing a dynamic integration within the divine plan." This quote illustrates the integration relationships among the divine entities, demonstrating how their interactions result in a unified and cohesive divine purpose. Disintegration relationships describe how the absence of the Son, divine wisdom, leads to ignorance, which in turn results in error and chaos. This dynamic highlights the disintegrative nature of the divine realm when one key entity is missing, resulting in the fragmentation of divine order. The tractate reads, "Without the presence of divine wisdom, ignorance leads directly to error and chaos, highlighting the disintegration within the divine realm." This quote demonstrates the disintegration relationships among ignorance, error, and chaos, showing how the absence of divine wisdom leads to the fragmentation of divine order. Through the detailed analysis of the Tripartite Tractate using our relational framework, we uncover a richly woven tapestry of divine interconnections and spiritual states. Each excerpt examined illustrates how the dynamics of coexistence, equilibrium, reinforcement, and other relational states are pivotal in understanding the Gnostic vision of the cosmos and the human journey within it. This exploration underscores the intricate balance between knowledge and ignorance, unity and fragmentation, as well as the processes of integration and disintegration within the divine and human realms. By contextualizing these relationships, we gain a clearer perspective on the Gnostic interpretation of the divine narrative, revealing a path towards spiritual enlightenment and completeness that transcends mere theological constructs, inviting a deeper contemplation of existence itself.